There we go.
Our Office of Student Research.
We are live. Good evening, everyone. I'm Craig McLaughlin, the Associate Vice President for Research and Graduate Studies at Illinois State University, and our MC for this evening. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to Illinois State University's 3-minute thesis competition finals. And welcome to those of you joining us online. I know, thank you for being so patient, or watching the recording. And happy Birds Give Back Day 2025. One of the challenges for Birds Give Back Day 2025 is for the Office of Student Research. We are sending Dr. Gina Hunter and 2 students to Washington, D.C. to advocate for undergraduate research for Illinois State University and for universities all over the country. So thank you, Dr. Hunter and the students, and that is one of our challenges for today. Thank you to everyone. So our 3-minute thesis competition is sponsored by the Graduate School at Illinois State University. Thank you to all of those donors and supporters all year. Tonight is also made possible by our hosts here at the Normal Theater. They're always such gracious hosts, so thank you to them. So what is the 3-minute thesis? For those of you that don't know, the 3-minute thesis, or 3MT as we like to call it, started out as a competition at the University of Queensland in Australia in 2008 and has spread to other countries since then. The essence of the competition is for our students to condense their research into a short presentation or elevator speech that they can give to anyone, not just a specialist audience. Students will have 3 minutes and 1 static slide for their presentation. If they go over 3 minutes, they are disqualified. They will be ranked on the basis of communication, delivery, and organization. So the 10 graduate students you'll be hearing from tonight were chosen from their respective college competitions, and tonight's winner will move on to compete at Midwestern Association of Graduate Schools contest in Indianapolis in April. Okay. Although I appreciate all of you who've been able to join us, I do want to take a moment to introduce a few special guests in the audience. ISU's President, Dr. Andave Tarhule, and First Lady Rose Tarhule. Provost Ani Yesedjian. Our college deans and associate deans. Department chairs and school directors. Our graduate coordinators. Big shout out for the mentors for tonight's finalists. And our host for the evening, the interim director of the graduate school, Dr. Gavin Weiser. And finally, let's hear it for those families, friends, supporters, everybody we all need just to get through graduate school and all of the graduate schools. We do have several distinguished judges this evening to help. And so I would like to introduce our panel of judges in the back there. So Vasu Gadaraju, the Director of Innovation and Technology from the town of Normal. Desiree Kizan Colquitt, the Senior Manager for Global External Supply at Pfizer. And Laurel Straub, the Assistant Vice President for Enterprise Research at State Farm. And you, our audience members, are not just here to observe, enjoy, and learn a bit about the great work our students are doing here at Illinois State University. No. We've given you a special opportunity too. So while our judges will determine the first and second prize winners, your votes and your votes alone will determine the People's Choice Awards. So after all 10 presentations, we'll have a brief intermission while you have a chance to vote for the People's Choice winner using your personal devices, and we will tally the scores for the prizes. As an added bonus, we do have a Birds Give Back challenge that we will give. We're gonna try and press the People's Choice voting. So for each People's Choice vote received, an anonymous donor will give $2 up to $1,000. That will be representing a much larger People's Choice vote than usual. So let's press that donor for that. But speaking of those personal devices that you'll be using later, a few house rules to minimize the distractions for our presenters. So, no flash photography, please. I know we all want to post, snap, X, and share this great event, so please tag us #GradBirds. But we aren't the focus of the show, despite the jacket. Okay, please remain seated during a given presentation. It is only 3 minutes after all, and we do have small breaks in between speakers while the judges do their work. Those breaks also provide plenty of time in between to get that mint, cough drop, lozenge, whatever, out of its super crinkly wrapper, but maybe have one available already in that state if you need it. So let's remember to silence those devices as well. So you got it? We ready? All right, then let's get on. You guys ready? You good? Okay, you're gonna be great. You're gonna be awesome. Kill it. Okay. So now let's get on with the competition. The 10 finalists will present to you in an order determined by random draw. I know you're up first, right? So first, from the College of Arts and Sciences, Sierra MacErv.
I've worked for several years as a designer developing products for Americans across the country. I'd sketch ideas, conduct market analyses, and prepare trend reports, but rarely did my team ever actually leave the office to talk to people about what they'd like to see designed. As it turns out, the design industry doesn't mandate community engagement as part of the design process, nor does it often allow time for it. This matters because what it means is we end up in a world that isn't designed equitably or inclusively of everyone. As a graduate fellow, I recognize that this was a systemic design issue, especially affecting the design of public places, like community and cultural centers that are vital for community well-being. Well, for the past 7 months, I've had the privilege of supporting a program that responds to this issue. The Citizens Institute on Rural Design, or CIRD, is a leadership initiative of the National Endowment for the Arts that provides up to 25 rural communities with design and development assistance over 2 years to leverage design methods for local revitalization efforts. This community-engaged model of design brings together architects and planners with rural leaders and active citizens to develop community-driven design solutions. But does it work? Though CIRD is a national program, its team is small and has lacked the capacity to conduct an in-depth participant evaluation. That's where my study comes in. Over 3 months, I conducted 13 interviews with 13 distinct rural communities across 12 states and 5 regions of the US to document their experiences in the program and their perspectives on design. My study surfaced consistent challenges rural communities face, like outmigration, isolation, and a lack of access to public resources. According to rural participants, CIRD alleviated these challenges in 4 primary ways. It created connections and community coalitions that otherwise wouldn't have existed. It validated local efforts to respond to challenges by launching creative strategies. It combated legacies of rural exclusion from municipal and creative processes, and it also empowered rural communities through resource sharing and much needed project support. Ultimately, what my study found was that design's greatest value lay not in its ability to generate site plans or design concepts, as many expected, but rather in its ability to bring people together. This is why design must be community engaged, because when it is, it has the potential to transform possibilities for rural communities, communities that are often under-resourced and overlooked, but asset-rich. These findings have been leveraged to inform program planning for the next CIRD cycle to better outcomes for future rural participants and have been shared with the National Endowment for the Arts. Thank you.
We now have a little break for our judges to do their work. Our next presenter is from the College of Education, Kuntiala Some.
Zangoyani, guten Abend, bonsoir, good evening. I'm very excited to share with you my work in progress on dominant language ideologies and its impact on inclusive education in a context where we have 60 plus national languages. So my research really questioned dominant languages, understood as people perceptions and belief about language relation enforced in countries generally through policies that really prioritize one language over other languages. So in Burkina Faso, the practice consists in officializing French and other foreign languages which are used as the language of formal education and also the languages that condition access to opportunities. So because of such practices, we have different perceptions and view on languages. And my research really questioned how it affects EFL teachers, English as foreign language teachers, and how they view the languages that the students bring to the classroom. So this month I interviewed 5 English teachers on their lived experiences of language discourses in the classroom. And I was shocked to hear some of them say they were forbidden to use national languages at school. Some said they were even exposed to punitive measure consisting in wearing a shame symbol when they were caught speaking national languages at school. One even said, like this year, a teacher complained at the school council asking the school to take measure to forbid national languages at school because it impedes students to progress toward curricular goal. Now, why would they do that when they belong to the same language communities? Teachers' answer is that they receive a lot of pressure from policy and community to prepare students in a way that will help them get degrees in the foreign languages which are enforced and also help them get national opportunities. Understanding this, I plan to engage them in a pedagogical practice in March where they will really negotiate interests, stakeholders' interests, while respecting the student rights to the languages and speakings that they speak. I believe in democracy and democratic approaches to teaching, and I also believe that all languages and all knowledge that students bring to the classroom should be valued and considered. I speak 5 languages, but I eat only through 2 languages. I want to stop that through advocacy and research. Thank you.
Our next speaker comes to us from the Wonsu Kim College of Fine Arts, Jaden O'Berry.
What if the difference between ordinary and extraordinary was just in a flick of a couple light switches? Then what's illuminated helps share in the storytelling, but what's hidden remains just as powerful for its own reason. Hello, my name is Jaden O'Berry. I am a student studying lighting design as a Master of Fine Arts in the School of Theater, Dance, and Film. My thesis, Designing Identity, Merging Broadway Glamour and Midwestern Queer Identity Through Lighting Design, explores how lighting can amplify themes of visibility, transformation, and self-expression. This semester, I was lighting designer for Illinois State University's production of The Prom, a musical written by Chad Beguilin and Bob Martin. The Prom, based on a true story, follows Emma, a teenager from small-town Indiana who just wants to take her girlfriend Alyssa to the prom. She unfortunately faces severe backlash and opposition from the conservative community in her town, until a group of washed-up Broadway actors charmingly storms in to champion her cause. This musical is deeply personal to me. As a queer and gender non-conforming designer, I know what it means to crave representation, to want to be seen in all my authenticity. Designing the prom allowed me to take that understanding and pour it into something tangible. It's my way of ensuring that queer stories, this queer story, is amplified. The main purpose of my lighting design was to evoke the juxtaposing worlds of Broadway spectacle and small-town realism all at the same time. In this, it would help visually convey Emma's journey of identity and empowerment. Let's begin with the Broadway-inspired elements to this design, shall we? This aesthetic captures the glitzy, glamorous, over-the-top worlds of our Broadway performers, specifically Dee Dee and Barry, our performers who embody the world of showbiz. By using colors like dark pinks, purples, and golds, and also taking direct inspiration from marquee lighting signs that you might see outside of Broadway theaters, this design mirrors their theatrical personas. In contrast, the lighting for Indiana is more restrained, more reserved and restricted, with muted pale blues and pale ambers to help exemplify the emotional confinement and structured rigidity Emma and Alyssa face. Ultimately, lighting becomes more than a visual tool. It becomes a bridge between spectacle and authenticity, making identity both visible and celebrated. Thank you so much.
Our next competitor is from the Mennonite College of Nursing, Beth Killam.
Good evening. One must consider the stark racial disparities in maternal outcomes in the United States. The maternal deaths have increased over the last decade, and Black women nearly experience 3 times the mortality rate than white women. Research has described a phenomenon of implicit bias among healthcare professionals. Implicit bias is unconscious attitudes, actions, beliefs, and stereotypes that influence a person's actions. Implicit bias among healthcare providers may affect communication, patient care experience, and treatment decision-making. Efforts to reduce implicit bias training is implicit bias training. Implicit bias training provides knowledge about bias understanding, bias awareness, and identify how discrimination may occur. Advocates in healthcare strongly encourage healthcare providers to complete implicit bias training. And at the state level, registered nurses are now required to complete implicit bias training before license renewal. However, there is lack of evidence that implicit bias training provides an impact in healthcare providers, including nursing. My research is to analyze the impact of implicit bias training among perinatal nurses, personal bias awareness, and mitigation bias practice and awareness. I provide a 2-hour e-learning implicit bias training in maternal health care. This is to educate nurses regarding personal bias awareness, culture competency, and racial disparities in maternal outcomes. This will empower nurses to become an advocate for patient care, to improve the quality of care, and to provide equitable care to maternal health. In conclusion, implicit bias training has been incorporated into healthcare providers, and there's insufficient data regarding the effectiveness. To provide implicit bias training among nurses, we must have implicit bias training that provides a positive and lasting effect on nurses' bias practice and behaviors. Thank you.
Our next competitor is from the College of Arts and Sciences, Ryan Krakowiak.
By the end of the 21st century, the world we live in will look much different than the one today as a result of climate change. How different may that world look? While no future is certain, researchers have laid the foundations of climate change risk scenarios. Each scenario, or pathway, represents a unique outcome based on humanity's ability to mitigate and adapt to both societal and environmental challenges that lie ahead. One of those challenges is water security, how effectively we manage our freshwater resources in an increasingly warm and drought-prone world. Here in East Central Illinois, we are fortunate to have a stable and weather-resistant supply of fresh water beneath our feet, the Mahomet Aquifer. 220 million gallons, that's over 300 Olympic-sized swimming pools per day, are pumped to meet agricultural, industrial, and public supply needs. Variables such as summer temperatures, precipitation, and population are all important factors that contribute to how much groundwater we use. Over the past 30 years, the threat of hot and dry summers in East Central Illinois has propelled the number of irrigated acres to double. In that same amount of time, the city of Champaign, which relies solely on the Mahomet Aquifer for its drinking supply, has seen a population increase of 37%. And thus, the challenge lies in preserving this freshwater resource to avoid overconsumption that surpasses the aquifer's ability to refill. My question is how groundwater demand in public supply and agricultural water sectors will differ with respect to three unique climate change pathways. Having accurate estimates of groundwater demand will allow decision makers and stakeholders to enact sustainability strategies that ensure the safeguard of the Mahomet Aquifer under each climate pathway. These predictions are made utilizing machine learning, an incredibly powerful computer modeling tool. Models are trained to recognize patterns of how variables in the past have contributed to groundwater demand, then estimating groundwater demand based off of pathway-dependent projections of those same variables. Comparing late century outcomes of the least and most consequential climate change pathways, average summer temperatures are expected to increase upwards of 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit under business as usual, compared to double that under fossil fuel development. This corresponds to a 6% difference in evaporation rates between these two pathways, contributing to a greater increased potential of agricultural groundwater demand under more extreme climate change pathways. Regionally, East Central Illinois' population is expected to grow by as much as 14% under fossil fuel development. Champaign County's population alone expected to double, corresponding to a potential increase in public supply groundwater demand under more extreme climate change pathways. I was recently invited to speak at the Mahomet Aquifer Consortium to share my research project and engage with community members and farmers alike that depend upon the Mahomet Aquifer. Looking forward, the implementation of these projections into local conversations are a tool that ensure we are prepared for the path that lies ahead. Thank you.
Our next competitor comes from the College of Applied Science and Technology, Tuba Yasmin Lupo.
Cover crops have been commonly used for many environmental benefits, such as conserving nutrients, improving soil health, and reducing soil erosion. But right now, there's not much use for the above-ground biomass. Farmers face financial challenges in adopting cover crops, which is why we want to tackle those challenges by converting cover crop biomass into value-added products, such as volatile fatty acids, using our normal technology. This is the very first study of its kind in this area. In our research, we used biomass from 6 cover crops, including pennycress, clover, pea, annual rye, hybrid rye, and cereal rye to convert them into volatile fatty acids using a process called anaerobic digestion. It's like putting all the crops in a sealed vessel. Just like this anaerobic digester we have in our lab for the experiment, where tiny microbes break down the biomass without any oxygen. In return, we get volatile fatty acids, which are short-chain fatty acids, such as acetic acid, butyric acid, valeric acid, hexanoic acid, and propionic acid. These fatty acids can be used to produce biofuel, sustainable aviation fuel, bioproducts, and even eco-friendly bioplastics. Our results show that we can generate potential revenue ranging from $200 to $800 per acre, depending on the cover crop we studied. This added value is a significant amount of potential revenue for the farmers, which will make it easier for them to adopt cover crops. Overall, now you are thinking, why is this important, right? Well, by adopting cover crops and converting them into volatile fatty acids, we can reduce our reliance on fossil fuels, lower greenhouse gas emissions, mitigate climate change, and help farmers to earn extra income. It's a win-win-win for the farmers, for the planet, and for all of us. So, next time, when you see a field of crops, think about this. These crops are not just feeding us. They could be fueling our future. Thank you.
Our next competitor comes from the College of Education, Manchuri Kauseapam.
Imagine stepping into a classroom where every boy speaks with confidence, ideas flow seamlessly, and cultural reference draw knowing laughter. Now, imagine being an outsider in that room, not just new to the academic culture, but to the language, the expectation, and the way knowledge is exchanged. As a Thai doctoral student in the United States, this was not just my experience, it was my challenge. Sitting in the classroom surrounded by native speakers, I was not just trying to grab complex theories, but translate words in my head twice. Once to understand the question, and again to frame my response. By the time I was ready to speak, the moment had passed. The conversation had moved on. It felt like trying to jump onto a moving train, always a step too late. But I'm not alone in these experiences. Many international graduate students in the United States, the focus of my research, face similar struggles as they adapt to new academic expectations and participation norms. These struggles are not merely obstacles, they are opportunity for growth and discovery. And this is what inspired my research. Tensions and possibilities, a study of international graduate students encounter with critical pedagogy in the United States, where I use in-depth interview to explore how my participants interpret and respond to an unfamiliar academic culture, reconcile past educational experiences with new expectations, and reshape their future lives. By understanding these experiences, we can create meaningful change. My research offers guidance for future students, helping them feel more confident and prepared. And for professors, giving them tools to create classroom for every student, regardless of their background, feel valued and heard. Because education is not just about learning, it's about connection. When we embrace diverse perspectives, we don't just expand our knowledge, we enrich our humanity. So imagine a world where every student feels empowered to speak, to share, and to belong. A world where education bridges to understanding and connection. Because when voices, once silent, find courage to speak, they don't just inform, they transform. Thank you.
Next up, from the College of Applied Science and Technology, Kathleen Tierney.
Picture this. It's your first day at your new college. Your parents just dropped you off, and you are now left to navigate life on your own for the very first time. You have to make new friends, find your own food, and adjust to living in a new environment with roommates. I'm sure you can all remember some of the stress and uncertainty that you were feeling as you adapted to your new normal. Believe it or not, animals go through this too. In a process called weaning, animals learn to live without parental support, and this generally causes a lot of stress for the animal. In the livestock industry, artificial weaning, or weaning before it would occur in nature, poses threats to the animal's health and efficiency. Reducing weaning stress is important to maintain the health and productivity of the animals, but to do so, we must first determine exactly how much stress the animals actually undergo. That's where my research comes in. Cattle are one of the most widely studied species in relation to weaning, but most studies have assessed the behavioral stress signs associated with the process. My research utilizes heart rate monitors to look at the physiological stress on beef calves during weaning. I compared two common commercial methods of weaning. The first is called abrupt weaning, where the calf and the mom are completely separated, allowing no further physical or visual contact. You could consider this group of calves the on-campus residents. The second method of weaning is called fence line weaning, where the calf and the mom are separated only by a fence between them. It is expected that if a calf can still see and hear its mom, it would predictably be less stressed than a calf that was abruptly weaned. You could consider the fence line group the commuter students. I utilized 19 calves for my study. 10 were abruptly weaned and 9 were fence line weaned. I used heart rate monitors that were attached to an elastic band around the chest of the calves. They recorded heart rate variability and respiration rate. Results of my study indicated that there were no differences in heart rate or respiration rate based on the method of weaning that the calves were assigned. This is indicative that while behaviorally calves may be less stressed when fence line weaned, their physiological stress actually remains the same. It is important to note, however, that the stress on the calves for both groups was relieved in time. So, when the time comes that your firstborn goes off to college, whether they decide to live on campus or commute, remember that they will likely undergo similar amounts of stress. But with time, that stress and uncertainty will be eased. Thank you.
Our next competitor from the Wonsuk Kim College of Fine Arts, Emanuela Oku.
Imagine operating a television set with a broken remote control. You try to reduce the volume, but the volume increases. Frustrating, right? Well, that's what it feels like to live with inattentive ADHD. So what exactly is inattentive ADHD? It's a form of attention deficit disorder that makes it challenging for one to stay focused, stay organized, or even manage their response to external stimuli. External stimuli like bright light, dull light, even physical sensation often results in irritability, stress, and even panic attack. But what if I tell you that blinking LED has the potential to help these kinds of individuals manage themselves better? In my study, I aim to investigate ways blinking LEDs can help people with inattentive ADHD better manage their response to external stimuli, specifically looking at these interactions within the classroom environment. Here, participants get to design their own active attention objects and then add blinking LEDs. They get to choose the shape, the size, and even the feel of this object. So what exactly is the role of blinking LED in this study? Well, research has it that people with inattentive ADHD often blink excessively when triggered by external stimuli, or forget to blink when trying to stay focused on a task. These two scenarios often result in tension and stress that affects one's composure and one's concentration level. So the role of blinking LED here is to capture their attention, stimulate blinking, and suggest the speed of blinking. More like helping these individuals pay attention to how they feel in the moment and use regulated blinking to gain control and stay focused. My study was carried out in two parts. First, participants get to design the active attention object using craft materials. They get to sketch it first of all, and the next step is to now design this active attention object using craft materials. They also get to play with the blink speed and the blink pattern of the LED using a potentiometer on a breadboard. This was done to give them some form of attachments to these objects. During the course of my study, three things stood out for me: patterns, processes, and associations. Meaning, people did create objects that spoke to their unique needs and experiences. Aside from the study giving people some form of agency to their care, it gave me an understanding as a user experience researcher as to the potential and possibilities of blinking LEDs in the neurodivergent community. In conclusion, blinking LED has the potential to not only stimulate healthy patterned blinking, but bring about focus and calmness in the long run. Thank you.
Our next competitor from the College of Arts and Sciences, Lisa Gotum.
Imagine this. You are freezing at -10 degrees Fahrenheit, bundled in layers, and wishing you had a cold tolerant body. But let me introduce you to film Pennycrest, an cohesive plant that thrives up to -10, tough, resilient, and ready to embrace the harsh weather. But pennycress was not always a hero. It started simply a weed in the wild. Farmers hated it, scientists ignored it, and honestly, it got stuck with the nickname as stinkweed. Through our touch of scientific magic and hard work from our team, this stinky weed has been transformed into a winter annual cash cover crop. Instead of field lying fallow in the winter, pennycress now fits perfectly in the Midwest crop rotation between corn and soybean and keep the land productive. Not only does pennycress maintain the soil, but it also has some impressive potential. It can produce 65 gallons of oil per acre, which can be used for cooking purpose or insect use, enabling you to fly without leaving a significant carbon footprint. But we are not stopping there. Our goal is to make pennycress a zero-waste hero. After extracting oil, the leftover seed cake is rich in protein, which is an excellent option for animal feed. Now here is the catch. Pennycress has built-in defense system called glucosinolates, compound that protect it from insect attack, kind of like pepper spray for plants. While these compounds are great for plant survival, but they pose a problem if we want to use it as animal feed. FDA says the glucosinolate level must be dropped to 30 for animal health safety, but wild pennycress is sitting at 120. So one of my missions for my PhD was clear: to reduce glucosinolate content without compromising the plant fitness. For this, I have been using CRISPR-Cas9, a revolutionary genetic tool that allows us to make precise edits to DNA. This technology has been used from improving crops to treating cancer in humans. However, making those genetic edits has not been easy. Every time I knock out a gene, I face a trade-off. Either the glucosinolate level dropped, but the plant did not perform well, as you can see in the graph, or vice versa. After countless trials and years of research, I finally cracked the code by knocking out two specific genes, MYC3 and HAG1. This combination has lowered the glucosinolate to the safe FDA-approved level while keeping the plants healthy and happy. This discovery is a game changer for commercialization. Industries are thrilled because they can use both oil and meal. Farmers are happy because they receive incentives for planting a profitable cover crop, and on top of all, nature benefits because cover crop protects soil health and capture carbon. From stinkweed to superfeed, pennycress is a winter warrior which is now ready to save the day. Thank you.
Okay, let's hear it for our 10 competitors. So I do not envy those judges in the back. There was some amazing presentations from our students, but now is the time where you get to put that challenge to the test and vote. I also want to vote, so. But yeah, this is how you vote for the People's Choice Award. Either use the QR code on the left, or go to strawpoll.live, enter code 643322. If you're watching the recording, that won't work. But for those of you here, please vote early and often. And I believe I saw some folks come in from the lobby, so that means there's some door prizes. Do I have door prizes, Emma and Aaron? Okay, let me get out of the way.
How we doing, 3MT? Thank you for coming out to support the work our grad students are doing. But we all know why you're really here, to win free stuff. Yes. So we're gonna start the drawing for our lucky winners. Get those tickets ready, folks. All right, our first winner, 189638. Come on down. 189638. Come on down. You are the next proud owner of a grad school t-shirt. Congratulations.
took a picture with you. You did? Yeah. Okay, all right, I'm sure you'll send.
All right, our next lucky winner, 189593. Come on down. 189593. If you are the lucky holder of that ticket, come on down. All right, now we have 189624. Come on down. 189624. Come on down, claim your prize. The price is right. All right. Our next winner is 189650. Come on down. Yeah, come get your prize. All right, folks, it's our last prize of the night. Our last lucky winner is 189581. Come on down. 189581. Bueller? All right. Going once, going twice. All right. Just kidding. Our last lucky winner of the night is 189622. Come on down. Yeah.
Are you really coming, or are you trying to go to the bathroom?
Yeah! All right, folks, once again, thank you so much for coming out, and let's have another round of applause for our grad students.
I don't want to book it. All right. Do we have things? Oh, come on down. There we go. All right. Now we have some results. Oh, look at that. Can I please have Dr. Weiser or Dr. Uzejian join me on the stage? Look at that, there. Any comments? No? Okay. All right, so let's start with another round of applause for all of our finalists. It was awesome. Thank you again to our judges for their efforts on scoring these amazing students. I'm sure that was a challenge, so let's give them another round of applause. And so the scores have been tallied? Yes? Okay, so here's how this is going to work. You're all going to come on up here. So come on.
Oh yeah. Everybody up.
All right, so here they are. They were awesome. And we have some certificates, please. The second place winner goes to, drum roll. Drum roll. From the College of Arts and Sciences, Sierra Mac Earl. Awesome, congratulations. And our first place winner from the College of Applied Sciences and Technology, Kathleen Teeter. And the one you chose, last I saw there were 200 and something votes. I don't know where we ended up. But your People's Choice Award winner, again, from the College of Applied Science and Technology, Tuba Yasmin. So congratulations to our fine winners. A big thank you to the Normal Theater, Gavin Weiser, Provost Uzejian, and a big thank you to the graduate school staff, mostly behind the scenes here, but especially to Dana Davidson, who takes the lead on this event. Thank you to Totally Creative Video for just rolling with it. Appreciate that, for live streaming our 3MT, all of our participants, and all of you. We will have a chance to take some pictures here at the end, so take all the time you need. We'll be here all night. Just kidding. Okay. But thank you all for coming. I hope you have a wonderful night. Safe travels. Good night.
Yeah.